Hey folks, Gway. So this weekend something got said. And I know how this is all gonna, get turned around. It's been turned around. This sort of thing has been said in the past, and there's a recipe, there's a method to how it gets flipped, and how supporters will say it's this or it's that in order to make it go away, make it appear less damaging, less insulting. Trump at a rally this weekend, in a message to Dana White through the crowd, he said, I had an idea. And he said, Dana White, the president of USC, we need a migrant fighting league. A migrant fight league, I think was the exact one. Migrant fight league. And you put all the migrants in there, and the best migrant, the champion migrant after a year fights the champion UFC of the USC. And then he said, Dana, I hate to tell you, but I think the migrant wins because they're awful tough. So, apart from the whole, this is incredibly dehumanizing and insensitive and racist, apart from the fact that it minimizes the plight that the migrants all over the world face, because this is a message that is being heard all over the world, and that's really important for what we're going to talk about here. This isn't just, well, to the people in Texas, I want you to hear this, or the people in Arizona or New Mexico, the people along the southern border, this is for you. No. Billions of people hear this guy speak. Billions of people are listening to this guy. Not just his supporters, not just the mega crowd, not just the Republicans who are choosing to vote for him or the independents who are choosing to vote for him. Billions of people hear his words. And billions of people have heard him now dehumanize an entire segment of the human population. We have migrants everywhere. We have refugees everywhere. We have what we would say to be legal and illegal migrants moving back and forth all over the planet. And he's lumped them all in together. He's lumped them all in together. And not only that, so does he mean like an 8-year-old girl from El Salvador should fight in a fight league? Right? No, listen, obviously not. Geez, I really hope not. But that's what happens when we use words like that. We make generalizations, and now we lump everybody in together. And that's the thing that's the thing we're gonna sort of talk about today, which is being careful with our words. See, I get the excuse will be he was kidding. He was just having fun. He was just having fun with his supporters. He was just playing around with his supporters. I get that. And that might be true. That might be absolutely true. He's just playing with the people that he knows adore him. He's just playing with them, and he's having fun with them, and they're joking around together like they were standing around a water cooler, or standing in line for a coffee at the local corner coffee shop. But if he's president, he is not working with his supporters. He's working ultimately with people from all over the world. He's working with people from all over the United States. He's working with people who don't like him. And he has to work with them. In order to bring unity, which is something he's said he wants, he has to work with them. So when he uses language like this, and he does all the stinking time, and he did throughout his presidency, and we use the same excuse, well, he's just kidding, he's just playing with his supporters. Not everybody supports him. Not everybody gets his sense of humor. Not everybody understands. How are we supposed to know when what he's saying is a joke, when what he's saying he's just being flippant. How are we supposed to understand when to take him seriously? Now, in the Bible, there's a couple of passages we're going to talk about. Now, keep in mind, we see him do this. The responsibility is now on us not to do it ourselves. Right? Our responsibility is to learn from the mistakes of others. Our responsibility is to learn from the moments when other people do and say things horrific. Our responsibility is to make sure that we aren't as horrible as those folks that we see operating around us. We learn from them so that we can grow. And so in this case, we're going to take a look at a couple of passages, one from Paul's letter to the Ephesians. Chapter 4, verse 29. Oddly enough, we're going to read from Ephesians again, probably tomorrow. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Now, I know somebody's out there is going to say, well, yeah, but this isn't unwholesome talk. Fine. Let's say this isn't unwholesome talk. This is just him joking and having fun. He wasn't being unwholesome. It's not like he was making fun of a person with a disability. It's not like he was, talking about grabbing females by their genitalia. It's not unwholesome. This is just him joking around. Look at the second part. The only things that should come out of our mouth, the only words that should come out of our mouth, the only communication we should offer should be helpful for building others up according to their needs. The only thing that should come out of our mouths, the only communication we should offer, should benefit those who are listening. In that situation, the world is listening. Not just the 2,000 or 3,000 people that are standing there in front of him. Not just the people who are sending him money. Not just the people. The world is listening. And on that stage, that person has a responsibility greater than the responsibility that you and I have. But that responsibility is also on us. Our words should build people up. Our words should provide for them as needed. Our words should be of benefit to those who listen. And perhaps I think maybe we should reread this and replace words, unwholesome talk, replace that with communication. Do not let any unwholesome communication. Do not share any unwholesome communication, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen, because we do far more than talk today. We text, and we tweet, and we X, and we truth, and we gab, and we Facebook, and we do a vlog, and we do all kinds. We communicate in all kinds of different ways with far more than just the spoken word, using far more than just our mouth. But if that's not enough for you, Jesus also says something really interesting when he's talking to the Pharisees about sin, and how the Pharisees accuse his disciples of breaking the law, of eating something that they shouldn't be eating with unclean hands. Jesus says it's what goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that's what defiles them. Our words matter. James, now that I'm thinking about it, James tells us we got to control our tongue. Your tongue's like the smallest muscle in your body, and yet it steers the ship. We have a responsibility with our communication, and it's essential. And if you're a person of love, a person of faith, a believer in Jesus Christ, a believer in God, our responsibility, as we've said a million times, is to our neighbor. And when we speak, we are accepting a responsibility, and that responsibility is to build our neighbors up. We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to share something that will make their lives better. We have an opportunity to share something that will be of benefit to them, that will be edifying for them, that will help them grow, that will help them prosper. Even if this language of Trump isn't unwholesome, and that would be in the eyes of the beholder, in the ears of the listener, it still didn't build anybody up. It didn't benefit anybody. Our words have huge consequences. And you and I, again, we can look at a situation like this and we can point our fingers and say, bad Trump. But we don't want to be the same. So use your words carefully. Use whatever platform it is you have. Use it carefully. The words that we utter, make sure they benefit others. The communication we offer, make sure it builds others up according to their needs. What we put out there into the internets, what we put out there on social media, what we share with our neighbors and our friends, what we preach from the street corners, if you happen to be that kind of guy. Remember that it's the words, the things, the statements, the messages that pour out of us, that defile us, not what goes into us. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray we will be strong enough, because this is going to take some practice. And I pray that we'll be courageous enough, because, there's going to be times where we don't want to do it. And I pray we'll be patient enough, because, there's really going to be times when we don't want to hold back. But I pray we will take our communication seriously and see all communication as an opportunity to gift the people around us. Amen. Nemultus.